Before this video starts, I just want to give a massive shout out to all my channel members. If you want to receive a shout out, then become a channel member today and you'll be shown on screen like all these other channel members here. Anyways, enjoy the video. On November 6th, version 15.0 dropped in the Japanese version and dropped on December 8th for the international versions. This update contains a lot of content and I want to talk about everything that was added in this version. Since we have loads to cover, all I ask is if you enjoy this update analysis, then be sure to give it a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and comment what was the most interesting thing about this update was for you. Anyways, let's get into the new content. All units discussed here will use their level 30 stats. The first new unit added is a brand new Galaxy Gal, this being Recklessa Sigma. She sports a gigantic 168,000 health with 59,000 damage. She's strong against floating, bumping these numbers to an effective 420,000 health and 107,000 damage with 14k DPS. She also sports an Omni Strike of negative 100 to 450, as well as a 6-second slow, and immunities to Knockback, Weaken, Curse, Toxic, and Surge. While this unit may seem like it has a lot going for it, this unit is quite simple, but that doesn't mean she's bad, far from it. Her gigantic stats against floating enemies allow her to be an extremely effective unit at dealing with floating enemies, and can tank a ton of hits against all but the most powerful cyclones. Her slow provides extremely solid crowd controlling for enemies like the Bun Buns to keep them in check with an uptime of 79%. Her immunities give her more flexibility in tons of stages, allowing her to be more effective in quite a few mixed stages and even a few dedicated floating enemies. Toxic immunity is the best example of this, as the two real common toxic enemies are Gobble and Zolo, which tend to come in groups. Being able to shave off their toxic effectively makes these enemies a non-issue for her. Weaken immunity is nice for Cleone and Calamari, while Knockback and Surge immunity is mainly meant for mixed stages. Her last immunity is Curse immunity, which is super useful, as floating enemies tend to be paired with relics, and a few floating enemies themselves come packed with Curse, like Loki and Otham. Overall, she's an extremely strong floating specialist, being able to nuke most floating enemies while having solid enough generalist stats to work in most mixed stages. This update sees the 13th anniversary event running, and along with it comes 6 brand new units, themed after shows like Super Sentai and Power Rangers. Each unit has a unique unlock condition. The first unit is Red Cat, who is unlocked by the Ranger Cats event gacha. They sport 16,150 health and deal 1,410 damage with 1,762 DPS. They deal massive damage to Aku, bumping their damage numbers to 4,230 and their DPS to 5.2k. This unit's stats only really allow them to deal with weaker Aku, like Aku Doge and Sinner Snake, but this ranger is unique in the fact that it has plus levels. At level 50 plus 20, this unit's health jumps to 32,000, dealing 8.5k effective damage with 10k effective DPS against Aku. While it's nothing amazing, plus levels can provide this unit a niche similar to Fallen Bear Cat, but could perform better thanks to them having a higher range of 295 and dealing with enemies like Akugori and Condemned Pang. However, their long cooldown of 23.2 seconds prevents them from being able to swarm a ton of enemies. The lack of surge immunity also means death surges can easily kill them. Overall, a rather mediocre anti-Aku unit that mainly gets value early game, 4-star if you lack options, and in Labyrinth, where it could perform fairly well as an Aku attacker. The second unit is Blue Cat. This unit is obtained from a unique Gamatoto expedition that is active during the 13th anniversary. They sport 17,000 health, deal 7,820 damage with 1.6k DPS. They sport massive damage against Red, boosting these numbers to 31,000 damage and 6.6k DPS. This unit has solid stats and a great range of 360, but this unit's cooldown is quite long. While this unit's cooldown says 24.53 seconds, it's effectively 20.16 seconds thanks to a unique Research Extra Large combo that works on the other ranger units. This cooldown is still fairly long, but it is a bit faster than shown. This unit faces a ton of competition as a red attacker though, especially with Courier Cat. In saying this unit could be a decent side grade if you have the slots available, especially due to their range stat. They also work as a decently powerful red attacker for Labyrinth. Overall, while this unit's cooldown may be a little long, it can work nicely as a side grade for units like Courier, and can shine extremely well as a Labyrinth unit. The third unit is Yellow Cat. This unit is unlocked by clearing parts 1 of 3 of the anniversary missions in the Catnip challenges. This unit resists black enemies and has an Omni Strike of negative 100 to 190. They sport an effect of 178,000 HP, but with a cost of 1650 and a cooldown of 14.53 seconds, it's fairly hard to get a ton of value out of this unit, as it doesn't provide anything else like some other tanks can. Mixed stages will also tear this unit apart, as it only has a base 35,700 health. This isn't even to mention units like Jetpack, who does black tanking so much better than this unit. The main use outside of the early game this unit will have is Labyrinth. The fourth unit is Green Cat. This unit is unlocked by interacting with a special icon on the cat guide during the anniversary event. Green Cat has a 100% chance to freeze red and black enemies for 2.4 seconds. While this unit's cost may say 1200, it's effectively 960 cost thanks to having a unique cost down extra large combo that reduces the cost of ranger units by 20%. While it's easy to write off this unit due to ICAT and Bomber existing, I wouldn't say this is the case. The fact that this unit has a solid range stat of 350 could easily allow them to act as a second line of crowd control in the event your Apple or Bomber stack gets blown up. However, this unit is also somewhat frail with only 10,000 health, and with a cooldown of 21.2 seconds, it can be difficult to stack. This being a special unit also means they can be used in stages where ICAT can't. Overall, a decent partner in crime to ICAT and Bomber, whose range gives them a niche over the other two. The fifth unit is Pink Cat. This unit is unlocked by interacting with the event poster and clicking on the Doge Cake. They have an LD that stretches from 170 to 520, and they weaken Aku for 2 seconds and red and black enemies for 2.4 seconds. This unit is fairly decent, mainly thanks to that absurd LD giving them 250 extra pierce. This pierce can hit many important mid-range enemies if given a stepping stone. It can also be used as a mid-game check to enemies like Akugori to make them easier to handle. However, this unit's long cooldown of 24.53 seconds can make it difficult to get the ball rolling sometimes, as if they miss a weaken, it could easily spell doom for them with their low 9.3k health stat. 4-star gives them more use, but even then they get outshone as a CC unit by the likes of Brasscat for anti-Aku purposes later on. Overall, a decent early game CC unit that gets outshone by later game situations. The last unit is not only an uber rare, but this unit is a free uber rare. This being Nyanko O. This unit is unlocked by acquiring all of the previous 5 ranger units. This unit sports 37,400 health, and thanks to their explosion, deals an effective 54,400 damage. They also sport Strawn and a 2 or 2.4 second slow against red, black, and Aku. Their stats effectively become 74,000 HP and dealing an effective 81,000 damage against Aku, and against red and black enemies becomes 93,500 health and deals an effective 97,000 damage against them. They also sport immunities to Weaken, Surge, and Explosion, as well as a 15% chance to Savage Blow. This unit's value being a free uber rare comes down to what other uber rares you have access to. Early game, this unit is like a second Crazed Bahamut, who could add more backline generalist damage. It could also be used as an early game anti-Aku, seeing as most anti-Aku units are hard to obtain early game. Their slow is meant to be more of a bonus, especially due to the extremely low uptime it has. Against Aku, it's a 10% uptime, while for red and black, it's 12%. This unit, like Crazed Bahamut, shares a massive flaw, this being their 19.83 second TBA. Because this unit lacks any piercing range and has a decently long force swing of 3.53 seconds, it's very prone to missing attacks. This unit also faces steep competition as a backline attacker against units like Ural, whose performance is able to outshine him immensely. While this unit is a decent backliner for the early to mid game, once you enter the later parts of the game, their stats can't really keep up compared to other options. This update doesn't see any new true forms added. This update sees the addition of a brand new Ultra form, this being the Ultra form for Kasa Jizo. This Ultra form brings Jizo back to their smaller state like it was in the first form. When compared to said first form, it gains a 22% boost to their health, making it 35,200 HP, a speed increase from 14 to 19, a longer backswing, as well as 100% survive and an Omni Strike of negative 200 to 350. This Ultra form is able to turn a powerful generalist spammable attacker to an even more powerful attacker thanks to the many quality of life additions added. Even disregarding the big thing about this Ultra form, the base buffs add plenty to it. Survive now ensures that Jizo stack can take a lethal hit and get one last big hit in if needed. A speed increase to 19 means it can more easily catch up to the likes of Manic Eraser and talented Jianshi. Omni Strike now ensures they can land their hits, and a longer backswing can keep the Jizo stack from advancing too far ahead of your units. However, the biggest buff to this unit comes from talents, as it can utilize them to great extent. Curse Immunity is an extremely good ability for this unit, as Black and Angel enemies tend to be paired with a ton of relics quite often, as these traits are some of the most susceptible to specialists. Being able to nullify this ability lets Jizo keep up their offensive pressure against these two traits. Toxic Immunity allows him to be used like Cyborg Cat as a spammable toxic immune attacker, but can do this job more effectively. Surge Resist is niche, but can give it value against Saint Dober. The biggest buff comes from stat talents. By adding the health and attack talents to Jizo, they easily become one of the best generalist units in the game, as these talents allow Jizo to keep up with the late game enemies and the general unit power creep that's been added. With health talents, their health gets bumped to 42,240, making it an effective 46% health boost when compared to base Jizo, giving them amazing survivability. With the attack talents, their damage jumps to 15,360, or an effective 61,440 damage against Black and Angel enemies. On a unit who already has amazing damage output, adding an additional 20% to that allows them to handle swarms of enemies way more easily, as well as quash Black and Angel enemies in a matter of seconds. Overall, this Ultra Form turns a unit that, while still good normally but faced more competition, into a unit whose status as a generalist and specialist attacker king basically is undisputed as the best of the best. In order to get this Ultra Form, you need 2 green Behemoth Gems, 5 red and purple Behemoth Stones, and a golden cat fruit. Two units gain talents this update, these being for Maeda Christmas Deluxe and Grand Chun-Chun Haunters. Both units gain standard attack and defense talents. Kaiji Claws gains further boost to strengthen, as well as surge immunity and freeze resist. Freeze resist isn't that good of a talent due to the use cases being too niche. Strengthen and surge immunity, on the other hand, are amazing talents for them. Kaiji being part Aku tanker means they'll have to face a ton of surges, which could eat away at their health rather fast. Now with this immunity, they could be better at tanking Akus since they no longer risk their health being shredded by surges. Strengthen gives Kaiji the same damage boost as normal Kaiji, and thanks to Kaiji's relatively fast cooldown, they can act as a solid, disposable attacker the same way base Kaiji does. Overall, a unit with 2 great talents, and that one talent that most units have that you could just erase from your mind. Then we have the Grand Chun-Chun Haunters, who get more curse uptime, wave resist, and cost reduction. Their cost reduction isn't all too worth it, as going from 4350 cost to 3900 isn't enough of a price drop to even consider dropping NP on, as if you could afford the 3900 cost, then you could probably afford the 4350 cost. Wave resist doesn't really have any applications at all, seeing as the few Angel and Aku that do wave or mini wave don't have anything that could be disabled with curse, outside of like Wicked Face. Their curse talent is the only real worthwhile talent, as this talent allows them to hit 100% uptime with curse against enemies, especially if an enemy is hit with the base hit and mini wave. At most, you really only need a level 7 curse to hit all the needed thresholds. Besides level 7 curse, all their talents can easily be skipped. One unit gains Ultra Talents this update, these being for Almighty Amaterasu. She gains a 20% chance to dodge for 2 or 2.4 seconds depending on the trait, and a 50% strengthen boost at 50% health. Seeing as Amaterasu is a generalist nuker who benefits from higher levels, being able to get an additional 50% damage on her gives her way more nuking potential. With max strengthen and attack talents, she can deal 237,000 damage against Relic and Aku enemies, while for every other trait besides traitless, she now deals 316,000 damage post strengthen. Dodge can give her a decent amount of extra survivability, though you could easily get away with just one level invested, as 0.8 or 0.9 seconds of dodge is still solid enough to give her a tiny bit more survivability. These Ultra Talents are amazing for those who are looking to further amplify her role as a generalist attacker. There are 9 new enemies added, all made for the 13th anniversary event. 8 of these 9 introduce a new subtrait similar to Behemoth and Colossus, this being the supervillain subtrait. The first enemy is a red variant of Doge. At base strength, they sport the exact same stats as Doge, except with a movement speed of 30. Then we have Evilzabeth, an Aku variant of Piggy with an Aku shield and a 30% chance to spawn a level 2 mini-wave. Miss Pang is next and is a black variant of Jackie Pang. She has a slight Omni Strike and has a 33% chance to freeze units for 2 seconds. For the rest of these anniversary enemies, they have both a small and large variant of each other, besides the anniversary cake, which is just the same old cake enemy we have seen. For the first of these enemies is a red floating variant of the face, titled Baron Face. They simply have a high range stat. When the enemy goes into their gigantic form, they gain way more range, standing at 490 instead of 340, and they hit way harder, as well as being way bulkier. Next, we have Lady Scory, a black variant of Cory. She will always spawn a level 5 wave. When she grows to Titanic Heights, her short 200 range becomes 600 range, and she will spawn a level 10 wave. Last is the super villain variant of Mammon, this being Warumon. Their shorter variant sports an Aku shield, spawns explosions at 420 range, and is immune to knockback and slow. When he grows into a giant, they ditch the Aku shield for an Omni Strike of negative 300 to 570, and now hits way harder. At max magnifications, this enemy sports 3.6 million health and deals 72,000 damage. Before we get into the new subchapter, this update sees the addition of 2-star Zero Legends, with Zero Field gaining a 2nd star. 2-star Zero Field is 120% magnification, so every enemy is 20% stronger. One new Zero Legend subchapter is added, this being the Booklet Islands. The first stage is Printed Waters, featuring Croxo, Heavenly Hippo, Loki, Lil Doge, Sorrel, Cyberhorn, Chibanel, Oldhorn, and I Am Face. The second stage is the Poetic Death, featuring Cinersnake, Zuch, Miss Haka, Fallen Bear, Zappy, Coffin Doge, and Midnight D. Comedic Comics has Sorrel, Doge Dark, Direct Kurosawa, Boar Jr., Shy Boy, and Bun Bun Symbiote. Dictionary Estate has Aku Doge and Gabriel, as well as Raging Gory, Doberdarg, Medusan, and Tarsiriel. The Feel Good novel has Metal One Horn, Johnny Leon, Gory Black, Taki, Metal Doge, and Coronium. Last is the Temple of Manga, which features those guys, Relic Doge, Zaki Pang, Oldstrich, Otham, and Dogshun. As is with the anniversary events, there is a wide host of event stages added to tie in with the event, with each map split into episodes for this anniversary. The first episode will give you a new item called the Legendary Heart of Justice, which is an item used to roll in the Ranger Cats event gacha, the same one that has the red cat in it. The final stage of this episode contains Supervillain Doge, Miss Pang, Evilzabeth, Angelic Sleipnir, and Neandam. On screen are the rates per stage in which you can get the legendary hearts. The second episode is one of 2 gauntlet maps, with the main enemies being the Face Barons. Stages 1 to 5 contain Supervillain Doges, Squirrels, Kangaroos, Piggies, Miss Pang, and the titular Face Baron. The second half contains those guys, Miss Pang, Supervillain Doges, Evilzabeth, and the Giant Face Baron. On screen are the gauntlet rewards. The third episode is the other gauntlet, with the main enemy being the Lady Scories. The first 5 stages contain Cerberus Kids, Doge Dark, Aku Doge, Evilzabeth, and Lady Scory. The second half has Supervillain Doges, Zoges, Elizabeth II, Zaki Pang, Miss Pang, Ginger Snake, and Great Lady Scory. On screen are the gauntlet rewards. The fourth episode is the halfway point and contains stages that net possible XP rewards. Each stage can only be played once a day. The final stage contains Boulders and Logs, as well as White Wind, Bun Bun Black, and Bun Bun Symbiote. Episode 5 sees the Baron Face and Lady Scory join forces, with each of them appearing as both base size and their supersized versions. The final stage of this episode contains Supervillain Doges, Ms. Devils, Devil Wives, Evilzabeth, Giant Face Baron, and Great Lady Scory. Episode 6 sees Warumon initiate their evil scheme, with the final part of this episode seeing a showdown between the Rangers and Supervillain Doges, Miss Pang, Ginger Snake, Shadowboxer K, Great Lady Scory, and the titular Emperor Warumon. Episode 7 is the final episode. It sees the climactic clash between the gigantified Warumon and the Rangers. The final episode contains Aku and supervillain doges, as well as Ginger Snake, Miss Pang, Face Baron, Lady Scory, Evilzabeth, and of course, the super malevolent Emperor Warumon. This update sees the addition of one new Otherworld Coliseum map, this being Big Game. Ubers have doubled the cost and cooldown, but in return, 3 will spawn, effectively making it a buy 2 at once, get 1 free situation. To give an example, Shadow Gao costs 6,000 normally and normally has a cooldown of 157.87 seconds, but this Coliseum would effectively make them have a cost of 12,000 and a cooldown of 315.74 seconds. Round 1 features Sir Seal, Shy Boy, Astromeda, Calamari, Reynard, Chibinel, and JJ Jackrabbit. Round 2 features Muth, Wild Doge, Bun Bun Black, Mr. Mole, Bun Bun Symbiote, Low Bun Bun, and JK Bun Bun. Round 3 contains Gabrielle, Devil Wife, Sunfish Jones, Heavenly Hippo, Rangmaster, Condemned Pang, and Aki. Clearing the stage on both 1-star and 2-star nets a rare ticket each in the missions tab. Round 4 features Relic Doge, One Horn, Raging Gory, DNL, Golem Sunfish, Otham, and Piggy. Round 5 features Doge Dark, Zrako, Dark Otter, Kurokroc, Ariant, Angabaru, Zangru, and Cadaver Bear. Clearing the stage on 1-star grants 2 platinum shards, and on 2-star grants a dark cat's eye through the missions tab. A new Arena of Destiny is added, and along with it comes a brand new set of ability orbs, which will be covered later. The stage itself has Otham, Grigori, Kurokroc, Sorrel, Bun Bun Symbiote, Taki, Astromeda, Doge Dark, and Raging Gory. Bonus points are earned from using units with the massive damage ability. Units who inherently target more traits earn less points. Talents are excluded from this point reduction. For the first of these miscellaneous changes and additions, one brand new ability orb is added, this being Extra Money. This orb will give every second spawning unit an additional cash bonus upon killing the first enemy or groups of enemies to be killed. Note that this doesn't apply if an enemy is killed by a wave, surge, or explosion. D rank grants a 5% bonus, C rank grants a 10% bonus, B rank grants a 15% bonus, A rank grants a 25% bonus, and S rank grants a 40% bonus. This orb is additive with double bounty, so the highest possible bonus with just this alone and without factoring in any of the accounting combos is a 2.4 times money boost from a kill. Zombie outbreaks receive a quality of life change, in which it tells you how long a stage remains until it disappears, similar to how it does in the Aku realms. Zamboni Cat and Cowluga Passalan both receive new names, with Zamboni being renamed to Cleanerbot Cat and Cowluga being renamed to Cowland Passalan respectively. Mr. Ninja, Coin Cat, and Metal King have received extra plus levels. Mr. Ninja now goes to plus 25, Coin Cat goes to plus 45, and Metal Cat now goes to plus 15. There are 3 new music tracks added for the 13th anniversary event. Here is a 15-second sample for each, and if you want to listen to the whole track extended to last an hour, then check the links in the description down below. Six new cat combos have been added, with 5 of them being extremely unique in their function. The one generic combo added is by Gun and Sword, with Mitsuhide and Mr. This is a knockback medium combo. The 5 other combos are all combos that come from the Ranger Cats and will only affect said Ranger Cats on top of the Nyanko-O. The first combo is Red Power, which activates Supervillain Slayer abilities. This grants each Ranger unit a 2.5 times damage boost and reduces the damage taken to only 0.4 times against supervillain enemies. Blue Power grants a Research Extra Large combo to Ranger units, reducing cooldowns by 4.37 seconds or 131 frames. The most interesting is Yellow Ranger, which gives all Ranger units wave immunity. Green Power is cost down extra large, reducing the price of all Ranger units by 20%. Last is Pink Power, which increases the Ranger speeds by 20%. Last is the new user rank rewards. User rank 26,200 nets 5 special cat size, 26,300 nets 5 rare cat size, and 26,400 nets 5 super rare cat size. The Street Fighter content for version 14.7 has been found in the game files. For the 11th time, there is no sign of the new Bikuramin content being added anytime soon. For a 0.0 update, it's strange how there wasn't really anything major added, considering a large majority of it is just anniversary content, so not much gets added outside of the Japanese version. But Jisoo getting an Ultra form is something a ton of people were excited for, and the fact that it's such a good Ultra form is great to see from a unit who has been historically great, but I want to know what you guys think of this update. Let me know in the comments down below, and while you're down there, be sure to subscribe to the channel and like the video, as this lets me know that I should continue this sort of content. Also, shout out to the following channel members: Dr. Deadly, Gomet, Virus El Perro, Just a Shark, Rose Cat the Ultra, Potato King, Atsushi, King Wolf, Tentacle Gaming, Clamorous, Barely Grover, Jade Rabbit, Mustafa, and Jedi Altaberg for being silver members or higher. If you want to receive a shout out like these channel members here, then become a silver member or higher today. Becoming a channel member supports what I do in a way that helps keep the lights on and allows me to continue making content for all of you to watch. Anyways, I hope you have a wonderful day.